Hey everyone, we're going to talk about IFTA today. Everybody's losing money, lease operators, independent contractors, owner operators. Anybody that pays their own fuel, they're dying from IFTA. They're losing thousands of dollars. And in this freight market, we can't afford that. So just a quick overview on what we're going to cover today. We're going to define IFTA. We're going to look at profit spreads. We're going to use tax rates in different states to calculate net cost. And then we're going to talk about myths and pitfalls that people fall into that just destroy themselves, losing thousands of dollars. And then we're going to conclude it with what's the best method to do IFTA, how do we get the best out of it, and maximize our profits. What is IFTA? IFTA stands for International Fuel Tax Association. It's a collection of states that have gotten together and they collect fuel tax on behalf of the other states. So a carrier will have a base jurisdiction, and that state will collect tax on behalf of the other states. And what they do is they get the total miles and the total gallons purchased in all the states and put them together, and you get a mile per gallon. And then states will calculate how many gallons of fuel you should have purchased in that state based on the miles you ran there. How much profit are we talking about, guys? Well, it can get up to $2,000 to $3,000 or $4,000 to $6,000 for teams just by fueling correctly, just by watching your IFTA. You got to use state tax rates. You got to get that net price. And based on that net price, you're going to get optimal fueling. All right, the first place we look at is the state tax rates. You're going to want to get these every quarter. They change quarterly. So I'll leave a link below to check out these rates. This is the first tool you'll need to calculate your IFTA. This is what the website looks like when you pull up the state tax rates. You know, I got a couple examples here. You got California, looks like it's got an 85-cent tax rate. Colorado's only got a 22-cent tax rate. So you gotta use that. You gotta subtract it from the total price at the pump to get your net. Now remember, the state will charge you fuel tax on every mile you drive there, whether you buy fuel or not. So sometimes it's better to buy in a high tax state versus a low tax state, but it's not always the case. So you're going to always use the net price on your route to make sure that you're always in the best situation. So for example, here we've got a station in Washington charges $4.74, has a state tax of 50 cents. Its net cost is $4.24 per gallon. If you compare that to the state of Oregon, the cost at the pump is $4.39, but it has a state tax of 0. You will keep more overall profit in this case if you purchased in Washington, because your IFTA bill is going to be much more discounted. In this case, it's 15 cents per gallon on every fuel up. That'll really add up over the year. All right, 2 common myths that you will run into out there in the trucking industry. Myth number 1, I always buy the cheapest fuel possible on my route, and then I'll just hope that my IFTA matches the miles I drive in different states. This is wrong because you ignore state tax rates, and you're always going to be a little off and sometimes very far off on your IFTA, and you will miss that $1,000 to $3,000 worth of profit. Myth number 2, I see this commonly in YouTubers in trucking. They think that they've figured it out. They always go for the highest tax state. They will say, I always fuel in the highest tax states, so I get a big refund on my IFTA bill. But this is also incorrect because the net cost can sometimes be in favor of the lower tax states. So you've got to use both. You can't use either extreme, and that's why net cost is the holy grail. It'll always steer you correctly. So to conclude our discussion here, we use state tax rates, and we deduct that from our fuel pump price. So if you have a discount card, subtract it from that discount. And then when you get comfortable with it, you'll be able to plan your fuel stops 1 to 2 days out in advance, and you can maximize your IFTA savings. You can save $1,000 to $3,000 just by taking a little bit of time, 20 minutes a day, to map out your fueling and maximize your IFTA. I appreciate you following along with me, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.